Hey guys, this is the Unit 7 Grammar Quiz Review video. We will review how to do ER and IR verb conjugation. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the format. It's similar to the other ones we've done. So for Unit 7, we still have 5 fill-in-the-blank questions. For this one, you will be conjugating a word from a word bank that best completes the sentence. Make sure that you don't just put the word bank word in. You need to actually conjugate it according to the subject pronoun in the sentence. So just to give you an example, you would have a little word bank sort of like this, where you see that they are not conjugated. You would need to figure out which word completes the sentence and conjugate it. So here's an example. Yo blank en el papel. We see the word yo, we know that means I. We see en el papel, we know papel is paper. So we're doing something on the paper. If we look up at our options there, we have salir to leave, comer to eat, decidir to decide, oír to hear, and escribir to write. So the best verb to fill in this sentence is escribir. So then you'll see that on the right side, I've already conjugated it to escribo. We do not write escribir because then we would be saying I to write on the paper. And we want to conjugate it for the yo form. So I've added the letter O because that's the yo ending. And now we're saying I write on the paper in Spanish. So that's what you're doing. As you work, be sure to look at the rest of the sentence to choose the word, and please don't forget to conjugate. Okay, so let's do a little verb review here. Remember that all verbs in Spanish have a stem and an ending. We reviewed that when we went over AR verbs. And remember in Spanish, there are 3 kinds of verbs, AR, ER, and IR. So that means we have 3 sets of endings. This week we've been working with ER and IR, and last week we worked with AR. Remember that each pronoun has a specific ending when you conjugate, just like we saw in the example sentence. O is the ending for the yo form. So here are the endings for ER, O, S, E, hemos, es, en. Remember that vosotros has an accent on the E. And then here are the IR endings. You will see that they are very similar. We have O, S, E, hemos, es, and en. So the only difference for these two is nosotros and vosotros. So we get es on the ones for ER and I's on the one for IR. Other than those 2 pronouns, you'll see that the yo is the same for both of them, the to is the same, the la usted form is the same. So it's very similar. So you're not learning a ton of endings. Even though we do have 2 different sets this week. And you'll see that there's some similarities with AR verbs as well. So remember that in AR verbs, the yo form was also O. The to form still ended in S, it just had an A instead. So make sure you're working to memorize these endings as soon as possible. And just pay attention to the similarities here, and it will make your life so much easier. Okay, so let's actually talk about how to conjugate. So once you've memorized the endings, remember that to conjugate a verb, it's very similar to AR, of course. All we're going to do is take off the ending. So we're going to take off the ER or the IR. And then step 2, we're going to add the correct ending for the subject pronoun, just like I added O for yo earlier. So when you're doing a verb that ends in ER, you will use the ER endings you see up there on the top that we just went over. And if you are conjugating a verb that ends in IR, you will use the IR endings, which is down there at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to 2 examples, how to do an ER, how to do an IR. So aprender means to learn. It ends in ER. So our rules are, number 1, take off the ER or IR, and number 2, add the appropriate ending. So step 1, I'm going to take off the ER. So I will be left with aprend after I take off that ER. And then I've got to add the endings for the subject pronoun. So this time I'm going to use the ER ending since it's an ER verb. So it'll be aprend, that's our stem, plus the ER endings we just went over, and I have them underlined in the conjugation. So now we can say things like I learn, you learn, he learns, instead of just to learn. So take a look at our box here. Yo aprendo is I learn, tú aprendes, you learn, él, ella, usted aprende, he, she, you learn. Nosotros aprendemos, we learn. Vosotros aprendéis, you all learn. Ellos, ellas, and ustedes aprenden, they or y'all learn. Okay, so very easy. Let's take a look at IR now. So vivir means to live. It's an IR verb that we're working on learning this week. So this time we're going to use the IR endings, and we're still going to take off that IR to start with. Let's go ahead and do that. So vivir, we get rid of IR, we're left with VIV. Okay, and then we're going to add our IR endings. So we'll have VIV plus our endings. So there is a look at the chart of what that would look like if you were to write that out. So yo vivo, tú vives, usted vive. Nosotros vivimos, vosotros vivís, and ellos, ellas, ustedes viven. So again, now we're saying I live, you live, he lives, instead of just to live. Because remember, that's the whole purpose of conjugation. We don't want to walk around just saying to live all the time. We want to be able to conjugate it to make sentences. Okay, so let's do a little practice. On your quiz, remember you're going to be filling in the blank. So these are just some practice fill in the blanks here to help you get more practice with this. So feel free to pause the video and do it on your own and then check it if you would like. So I've got our rules over there on the left and our ending charts as well. It's an up and down ending chart there, but you'll see that the pronoun is over there to the left. So let's take a look at número uno, number one. Mi hermano y yo no blank la misma escuela, and our verb is asistir. So asistir means to attend. So we're saying my brother and I do not attend the same school. So my first step over there says take off the ending. Okay, so we've got our ending off, and now we're left with asist. So next we need to find out what is the subject in this sentence so we can choose a correct ending. So take a look at our sentence here, and mi hermano y yo is our subject, my brother and I, because we are the people that are attending, or in this case, not attending the same school. So whenever you see yo, remember that's the we form, the nosotros form, and it's an IR verb. So if we look at our chart over there, we see the ending is IMOS. So we are going to add that to the stem, asist, and we will come up with asistimos. There's our verb, mi hermano y yo no asistimos la misma escuela. Okay, número dos, los muchachos blank rápido, and our verb is correr. So I want to say the boys run fast. Okay, so I need to first, step one, take off my ending. It's an ER verb, so I'm getting rid of ER. I'm left with cor, and then I need to find my subject. This time the subject is los muchachos, the boys. So remember that we need to figure out what it is if it's not just yo to el, ella. So in this case, since it's the boys, it's a plural group of boys, we're going to use the ellos form because that would be the word for they. Remember that nosotros has to have yo in it. That's why we did that for the first one. And vosotros would have to have to in it if you were replacing it. Okay, so los muchachos is going to get the en ending. So for our blank here, I'm going to write corren. Los muchachos corren rápido, the boys run fast. Okay, número tres, mi familia siempre blank a las 6:30, and our verb is comer. So my family always eats at 6:30. There's a little review of time for you. All right, so this time we're going to follow our rules. ER verb, taking off the ER, we're left with COM. And then we need to figure out where our subject is. Who is eating dinner at 6:30? The answer would be mi familia, my family. So that's our subject. Remember that mi familia is actually a singular word. So it doesn't matter if you have 800 people in your family. We are going to conjugate this for the singular form, which is the L form. So mi familia come would be the correct answer with the E on the end. So think about my family as one unit. That's why we're going to do it like the L-A form. Okay, número cuatro is yo. We know yo very well. So yo blank cada noche antes de dormir, and our verb is leer. So my sentence will be, I read each night before I go to sleep. So we are first going to take off our ER. So there it goes. We're left with LE. And then we need to add our correct ending. We all know that yo ends in O because we already learned that when we did AR verbs. So our verb this time, of course, is the yo form. It will be leo. So yo leo cada noche. Okay, número cinco, tú blank bien el español. Our verb this time is comprender. It means to understand. It's an ER verb, so let's go ahead and take our ER off. And this time we need the to ending for ER verbs. So if you look in your column there, we don't have to think about this one like we did with los muchachos and mi hermana y yo, because to, there's only two. You can't really replace to. There's not another word for you except usted, which would be the formal one, okay? So again, if you look at the chart, you'll see it's ES. So we are going to underline to as our subject and fill it in as comprendes. So you understand Spanish well. Okay, número 6. Donde blank los estudiantes? Our verb is vivir. That was the one we conjugated earlier. Remember, it means to live. Let's go ahead and take off the IR. And then we need to find our subject. So in questions, subjects are actually going to come after the verb. So you'll see that the subject is down there towards the end this time. Los estudiantes. You guys know that means students, so that should look familiar. Donde means where, like we learned with de donde eres. So hopefully that's familiar. So we do want to conjugate it for los estudiantes. So again, we want to think the students, which pronoun would I replace that with? And again, it would be they. So they is ellos. In our chart, we see the ending is en. So we're going to put viven right here. So donde viven los estudiantes? Okay, número 7. Soledad blank la tarea. Soledad is a name. So it's a girl. So we will do the ella form. So take a look at your verb. It's escribir. Let's go ahead and take off our IR. Our subject is Soledad, and then we will conjugate that for the she form. So if you look at your chart there, remember ella means she, so we are going to put escribe for our answer. Soledad escribe la tarea. She writes the homework. Okay, and then our last one is nosotros. Nosotros blank los libros, and our verb this time is abrir. Abrir means to open. Go ahead and take off our IR, and we're left with ABR. Our subject again is nosotros, so we don't have to think about it like we did on number 1. We can just look at our chart. It's an IR verb. We're going to put IMOS for our ending with ABR, and we come up with abrimos. We open. Nosotros abrimos los libros, the books. And that's it. The more practice you do with this, the better you'll feel. As you're learning your vocabulary this week too, it's really going to help you know which words to choose out of the word bank, since yours is a word bank, instead of the fill-in sentence where I gave you the verb like we just worked through. Okay, so if you do need some more practice, remember that you should definitely attend your live sessions this week. Make sure you do all the activities in the OHS. There's lots and lots of practice there. And then remember, you can request a learner conference to meet with your teacher one-on-one. So make us proud, and please reach out to us with any questions. Thanks, guys.